connects through Bluetooth. See, now it's recording up there. Lucas McCann.
Jay Rosenthal.
Welcome to Baltimore.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Well, I don't know if I can have you in Baltimore since I live in Toronto, but I do like Baltimore. Have you been here before?
This is my second time here in the last month.
Okay, so yes.
We did a seminar here about 3 weeks ago. I had a great time talking to license holders. It's an up-and-coming market.
It is. I like this market. I like markets, but I want to talk to you because you're in a lot of markets. You've been in a lot of markets. I like markets that turn on adult use in already established medical dispensaries. It seems to go faster, smoother, the ramp up is smoother, and then get to the next wave of licenses. Do you have a feeling of what is better or worse?
So there's a theory that every successful rec market has to lean on the shoulders of a medical market.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen this in a lot. A lot of folks forget that Canada, for instance, was medical for 20 years, 20
yes.
plus years. But yeah, Maryland's had a relatively smooth rollout. Definitely better than some of the neighboring states. There are a lot more complaints coming from the Northeast
yes.
than there are from this
I think
area.
that all the complaints are coming from one state, no? No. 2 states, mostly New York.
Mostly New York. They're definitely the loudest.
And is that because they didn't do what Maryland did? Or is it because New York is inherently more complex or more expensive or all of those things combined?
I think New York is upset because New York didn't do what it said it was going to do.
Right.
And then it said it was going to do something, and then it didn't do that. And then it continued to not do what it was saying it was going to do to fix the things it wasn't doing. So.
And yes, and maybe 60 days ago, maybe less, the governor said we're going to fix it. And there's a top-down review of the OCM. A bunch of people have both left and been asked to leave, I guess. The OCM, do you think there's like a OCM turnaround that could happen quickly in New York? Or is it going to be bumpy for a bit and then re-engage or something totally different?
I use the euphemism that legalization is a big ship to steer. I think that the New York market is probably about the size of the Earth in terms of its ability to change direction. It's going to take a long time.
It's going to take a seismic, not even more than a cosmic shift.
A cosmic event for it to move in a different direction. New York's opening up. It's taken a long time. It's taken way too long. But I have some exciting news to report in New York.
Okay.
So when the review queue was announced for the general application window, we actually had the #1 license, spot number 1, which it's a lottery. So I mean, okay, there's some chances there, sure.
Well, you did good.
Thank you. We did. We ended up on top.
You make your own luck.
America's #1 consulting firm. We got the first to market from the general application round. We got the first retail dispensary open on East 25th Street. They were open for 420, and we were very stoked about that.
That's great.
Our clients were more stoked about it. So
I'm sure.
Blue Forest Farms, 122
Nice.
East 25th. If you're in the area, go check them out. Tell them Lucas sent you.
Do you get the Lucas discount?
There's no discounts. There are
no discounts anywhere.
No.
You never get discounted cannabis.
But they do also have a hemp license. Trina's the owner there. They have a lot of really cool products. They really turned me on to an excellent CBN oil.
Okay.
It's a tincture for nighttime.
Okay.
So
that's what the N stands for.
I was going through a phase where I was, probably having more wine or whiskey in my week than I should have been.
Okay.
And turned to CBN to really help me sort of get over that little hump. And it's been great. It's a great product. I strongly recommend people try it.
Okay.
Even if they don't want to just do alcohol cessation, it's amazing.
Okay.
Do you sleep well?
No, I sleep hard. Look at me. I'm a man in my middle age. Of course I sleep
I just
shitty.
thought that was the entrepreneur, perpetual bags under the eyes.
It's the kids. It's the work. I really don't. I barely drink anymore because I can't sleep, and I like weed a lot more. But even that, I just doing all of those things less helps me sleep better. But I still don't sleep well.
Yeah. I mean, that's you're an entrepreneur, so you're just not going to sleep.
No, it's just constantly spinning. But I don't like not sleeping. But I also, it's not the worst thing in the world for me.
The cards are stacked against you in this, I think.
Yes.
As it pertains to sleep.
Yeah, but I do, as you know, I work from home, and I do a 3 to 3:30 nap. Really is a big difference maker.
That's a luxury that only work from homers really get.
And I've coordinated my life to work from home. So before the kids come home at 3:35, my daughter gets home at 3:35 from high school. I do set an alarm so I'm up when she gets home, so she doesn't think I'm sleeping all day, which I'm not doing. But that's really the only way I could do it.
all the power to you, man. I'm in office. I'm actually in 3 offices.
Right. You're everywhere.
Kind of across. It's a bit much with all the the airplanes and travel.
That
and
also
such,
messes with the sleep, of course.
It does. Funny enough, I was speaking to someone about how I felt jet lagged doing the Toronto to New York flight. And they're like, how can you get jet lagged after 45 minutes? It's airplanes make you tired.
Yes, it's the altitude, it's the air and air quality, it's just being somewhere different, and the humidity.
Exposure to gamma radiation, all the above.
Oh, look at you. No, so you're a chemist, so you know all the things. You've been in, do you even count how many markets you've helped people get licenses in or operated in?
It's more than 2 handfuls now.
Okay.
We've recently had a big success in Alabama. We got the first black-owned cultivator up and
Awesome.
running in a lottery situation, which we're really proud of. George Poindexter from, the name's eluding me, but George Poindexter in Alabama just
Nice.
got recently a license in Alabama.
Awesome.
So he, black man producing cannabis in a traditionally very white, conservative Bible Belt area. We're super stoked.
That's
about
amazing.
That one.
As you go to these new markets, are there things you look at, you say, oh no, that's never, like I've seen a lot of regulations,
Yes.
that's never going to work?
Yes.
Do you also see the flip of that and see things that's like, oh, that is actually fairly innovative, that might work, that's a unique approach that others may adopt, or is that rare what you see that?
I think that's hard to find. Usually good licensing frameworks will account on the ability to have some kind of restorative justice for folks who are social equity applicants. I think that's super important, but there needs to be some other means that we can get these folks open, because you can apply for a license, you can win a license like we've seen here in Maryland, but if you don't have the know-how and you don't have the funds to be able to do it, it's really tough to be successful.
Yeah.
That's sort of the missing piece that we're looking for, is like, where's the money?
Right.
New York tried to spin at this. They promised a lot of people a lot of money with really horrible terms, 13% interest.
I saw the story, yep.
It's tough to get it right. I think every state's going to try and do it, but it's really nice when you do see an attempt to give back to communities who have been disproportionately impacted.
Yeah. Yes, and that's to getting open, I think.
Getting open.
I think the other part that certainly operators in our neighborhood in Toronto, but also in other markets, like getting opened is, it always seems like the hard part, and then you have to run a retail operation on the retail side. Like some of it is traditional retail, like you have to,
That's right.
those things, and then there's the added layer of compliance and regulatory, and it's a harder retail business to run. Like that is also the next thing that becomes a real challenge for some of these operators.
Hey, you know what? That's a great segue into some of the new things we've been doing.
Oh.
So we're launching a new marketing
I didn't even
service.
see that.
We're
I
launching
didn't
a
even
new
try to
marketing
add a
service.
segue.
So we're doing more of the life cycle of the folks we've been working with, because we get all these folks open, to your point, and they're kind of like, well, what do I do now?
Yeah.
How do I market and advertise in an area where it's illegal to market and advertise?
Yes.
And how do I stay open? So we've even had our Google account shut down. We've had our bank account shut down, and we don't even touch cannabis unless we're on an audit. Like we're not a plant-touching company formally. But having sort of like the right things in place so that you don't need to leverage things like Google Ads, I think is super important. We're talking to people about that today. We actually have a nice little plug here for one of our
I
products.
want to see this. People, before we even got here and you had left some stuff down, people wanted to see these things. You can get everything.
So this product here is Vape Vest. It is a way to dress up your vape. This flips around. So
I got it.
You can have either way. And you can sell these things for about $3 or $4 at the retail dispensary. But more useful than that is getting actual Google reviews on site from folks. You scan the QR code, folks leave a 5-star review in front of you, hopefully 5-star review.
Yeah.
And they take one of these cool sleeves that you can use to dress up your 510.
I like
to help prevent the breakage. So these guys are a client of ours. They're kicking off, and they've been teaming up with us to help draw more Google reviews into retail dispensaries. It also uses a cool giveaway for folks that are in the manufacturing space for 510 carts.
I think people who've maybe never been in retail or don't understand search engine optimization or how Google works don't realize the power of Google. Google it is a real thing.
It's an ad agency, not just a search engine. And if you're not sort of stroking the robot, so to speak, it likes to forget about you, so you have to spend more with them.
Yeah.
But you can't do that if you're a retail dispensary.
Right. And it is one of those tips and tricks to get people to engage. And there's actually a shawarma place in Toronto, but now they're growing, called Shelby's Legendary. Do you know this place?
I think they just opened up, right?
They did. There's open up a couple on board, but now when they opened, my kids said, "Oh, we know that guy." I was like, "How do you know that guy?" They know him from social media. But when you go there, there are incentives to give Google reviews. While you're sitting there waiting for your food, they send you an incentive and then they bring you something in real time. Like I think it's fries.
I got that.
But the idea is if there are ways to uniquely and compliantly encourage people to give you Google reviews,
Yep.
it makes a huge difference. That's one of a lot of things that I'm sure you'll learn sort of in compliant cannabis marketing, but it is one of those things that you need to start thinking about even before you open.
You know, I'd put you on the spot and tell you to leave us a review right now, but I see your phone is tied to like 5 different
Right,
devices.
if you do that, this video is going to be cut right off. But I will. I'm happy to. No, but it is. You do have a zoomed out perspective, I imagine, even and on the ground perspective too. Having been in it for a long time, you and I met at the top of the CN Tower. Do you remember that?
I do. That was back in about 2018, 2017, 2018.
Yeah, for sure. And
you were already a celebrity at that point, an internet celebrity.
Internet, a very small niche.
I was in awe, and I was like, that is the Jay Rosenthal.
But now you bring your own cameras to interviews, so you've come a long way, a very long way.
It's vanity at its finest. I just have to make sure I get the right angle.
You do. This angle's good. That's a good angle. We're recording here. But this actually goes to, it's not unimportant, right? Like if you're opening up a small business and you are the proprietor of that small business, like you are by necessity the face of that business often.
This is the one thing that you can do in cannabis advertising and marketing is tell your own story.
Yes.
You can't talk about the products, but you can say, my name's Lucas McCann, I'm the CSO of CanDelta, and I've got a PhD, or I really care about Star Trek. And that's the piece that you can tell. And also, I have a dispensary, or I carry a vape vest product.
Right.
That's the one thing that they can't shut you down for. So you really got to make the focus about who you are, what you're doing, and why that's important. And I think that when you are telling that with a social equity perspective, it really adds a cool lens for this, because one thing that we're seeing, particularly in New York, is that people love regulated product. Everyone's complaining about all the illicit stores being opened and that are continuing to operate and not shutting down despite the Smoke Out Act.
Right.
But we see a strong affinity for regulated tested products, and people are looking for the seal from the New York State in the windows of the dispensary operators that they're going to.
And it works. People like it.
It does. Not to say that you're not getting regulated tested product at other retail dispensaries, just from other states.
Just right.
Yeah, they're failed
they were tested and regulated in California.
That's
potentially.
Right. Yeah, so when looking at other states, Oklahoma was one that I think maybe did a couple of things that weren't for the best interest of everyone.
Right.
They made the activation energy, I guess, to get into the industry extremely easy.
Right. Very low.
You could sign your dog up for a license and they'd have one, right? You come in, leave with 10 licenses, you hand them out to friends and family.
Right.
And that killed the industry. That's why we see Oklahoma product on the streets of New York.
Right, because it's everywhere.
Which is not supposed to happen, by the way.
Right.
Everything consumed in New York is supposed to be from New York.
Right.
It's supposed to be. But here, we're not here to talk about what's right or wrong.
No. Well, we can if you want.
Actually, I am. That's what I do.
Speaking of that, and let's come back to Maryland. There's a new wave of licensing coming out in Maryland.
Yes. Yeah. So also to the funny sort of statistics that we have is that we won an overwhelmingly positive, I would say, number of licenses in the first round for social equity, which we're really stoked about. Coincidence, statistics, I don't know. You decide.
You decide.
You decide. But we were in conversations. We were at Benzinga a couple of weeks ago in Florida, Hollywood, Florida. Great show. The MCA was actually at Benzinga talking to people about Maryland licenses because they themselves are so stoked about it.
Huh.
They are predicting that we're looking at June for the next round.
Okay.
But we're going to have a 60-day window. So they're going to have to announce this publicly, giving everyone 60 days notice to prepare themselves for the arrival of the second application window.
Okay.
And you have to be a social equity if you're going to be applying for the micro business license for the micro dispensary, which is really cool. So they have basically a non-brick and mortar, a client-facing license type that allows you just to be the Uber Eats of cannabis and to just drive around and deliver products, which is really cool. So if you're social equity and you didn't apply in December, you have another shot to apply for that micro business one.
Okay.
Or you're playing against everybody else in the general application window.
That's the insight you can get from a CanDelta.
It is. It definitely is. And I would say a lot of free advice I like to give to
we'll take it
on my products or my favorite products that are available in the market. And which dispensaries are great to shop at because they have a great story. Further to that, in this next application round, a little concerning because we didn't see necessarily a lot of funds and money being made available to folks who won the licenses in the first round. And my only concern is that there are a lot of people who are not realizing, I think, the urgency that hold a license right now about how important it is they open up and sort of claim a territory and find a location, which seems to be the crux of every license is where do I operate?
Right.
Except for the micro business where you don't need one. But the fear is in the second application round, that's where the money's going to come in. And once the money starts coming in, these folks kind of have a great idea of sort of how to do this because they have the resources to do it. They open up very, very quickly and might leave some of these folks kind of in the dust. So we're hoping that folks in social equity can open up quickly in the next couple of months because, realistically, July, August, when this next application window opens up, these folks are going to move very quickly. They're here to do business, and they know exactly what they're doing.
Right. Well, Lucas, it's nice to see you in Maryland.
It's nice to be seen in Maryland. Weather's been great here.
Oh my God, it was so hot.
So hot.
And I knew, I was just in Florida actually, right after you. I was there last weekend. And it was certainly hot in Florida, but then I landed yesterday. And I forget. Well, I used to live in DC, and it's just always hot in DC and muggy. But it was super hot and muggy for the beginning of May. Like it was summer. I'm not ready for summer yet.
I got a horrible.
We still have hockey tryouts.
Hockey tryouts.
Yeah, hockey tryouts
for next year.
Yeah. So this is the most Canadian conversation. Hockey tryouts for next fall for U11 and up start in are now at the end of the previous season. For A and select.
That's right. You can take the summer to sort of get fat and lazy and out of shape.
Well,
your team selection's already been done.
You can slack off. No, they can make adjustments in the fall too. But no, the initial skates and tryouts are this weekend, next week, and the weekend after. So, but it's like when it's so hot outside, even when it's nice outside, and you have to put all your gear on to go skate. It does seem like off season, but they play good hockey here too. So. But it was really, really hot this week. But thanks for stopping by. Nice to see you this side of the border, and good luck with compliant cannabis marketing. Good luck with Take Out Vape Fest, and we'll see you down the road. Bye, Lucas.